Alright guys, this is another old format Friday. As you can see by the cards displayed here. It's going to be taking another look at GOAT format build. I just want you guys to know that the builds aren't like high on the scene of competitive GOAT format, like modern day GOAT format tournaments, if that makes sense. Because there's a lot of tournaments and the decks they're playing are pretty wild. And basically, these builds are just to show the possibilities, with the card pool that existed back then, that you can have a lot of fun, just like tabletop games, playing with your buddies. I don't particularly like playing in GOAT format tournaments because, in my opinion, when you really get into it, it takes away the spirit of the game from that time. Because I played during that time, and I'd kind of like to keep the feel, so to speak. Just the nostalgia of it, so I don't really necessarily worry about side decks or trends or anything like that. But if you guys like, I could show you some of the competitive builds. Just be sure to give me a thumbs up, and comment down below in the comment section, and I can show you some of those competitive builds. But like I said, overall, not a fan. All right, so this is another chaos build, but it's going to be a little different. So we're going to start. Totally chaotic. We got 3 Chaos Sorcerer and a Blackluster Soldier. These are the powerhouse cards of the deck. These are gonna be like your main beaters. Your Chaos Sorcerers are your main beaters, with BLS delivering like the final blow. He also outs opposing BLSs. Now for my light monsters, one of my favorites, Magical Merchant. The always useful DD Warrior Lady. Then we got Shining Angel. And this little gem. Make a Dog Marin. What this guy does is, when he's destroyed by card effect, both you and your opponent take 1,000. And when he's destroyed by battle, your opponent takes 1,000. And you'll see here very soon what the theme of this deck is. And I like this guy because he's fetchable with Shining Angel. You can revive him with Call of Haunted in response to MST to do a little quick burn damage. You can set him, or you can summon him into Torrential, do burn damage. So it's quick little burn, really cool card, and I really like it. Then for the dark monsters, of course, Breaker, Sangin, Mystic Tomato. And then to complement the Mecha Dog, we got 3-Des Koala. Now you might say, now why aren't you running Giant Germ? Well, Giant Germ brings your guys out in defense. And I found with decks like this, a lot of times you're lacking aggression. And that's why I decided to run the Mecha Dogs in that, because they're light. They stay in a theme of providing burn damage, and they fuel chaos, you know what I mean? So this is the opposite that this does. This can be pretty significant with 800 defense early game, or if the game gets to a point where you're kind of stalemating back and forth and you're accumulating cards. Flipping this, your opponent might have like 4 cards in hand, do a quick 1,200. I mean, a lot of times, if you guys ever played GOATs, you're like trying to find ways to avoid Ring of Destruction late game, and this just puts them one step closer to dying. And then for the non-chaos monsters, we got 1 Tribe Infected Virus and 1 Morphing Jar. Now, Morphing Jar can also be Sinister Serpent, so you can have that free discard, but I found that Sinister Serpent is best in decks that are using like Metamorphosis. You got like multiple discard costs. Like if I was playing multiple cards with discard costs, I would probably run in Thunder Dragon, rerunning Thunder Dragons. But again, I found that you need the aggression, you need the manipulation, and Morphing Jar, when played right, is a very devastating card. While your opponent is busy trying to sculpt their hand and set up, and once you get a read on their hand, you can Morphing Jar, and it's like totally shift the dynamic of the game, especially if you've already gotten set up with your cards set. They've burned a storm. They're out of faiths, and you set your card, set all your cards, play your hand, flip your morphing jar, and it can be very devastating. Then the aforementioned Trinity. We got Pot, Graceful, Duo. I don't think any GOAT deck is complete without at least 2 of these cards. Next up, MST, of course. Snatch Steal, pretty much the staples of this format. Staple spells. Camera doesn't want to focus. Next, we got Crossout, 2 Book of Moon, and 2 Smashing Ground. Again, a lot of times in burn decks, you don't want a lot of removal. You want to burn them for all their cards. But again, even like playing against like more competitive decks in this format, I found myself needing ways to find aggression. I don't run a bunch of beaters. So a lot of times I'm poking with my Death's Koalas and my Mystic Tomato and my Shining Angel, trying to find damage through those guys. And if they have a defense position spy and they refuse to do anything else, I'm pretty much stuck. So cards like Smashing Ground gets me there. If I can hit a Dekoichi or Spy or Magician of Faith, that gets me there. And then I try to save Book of Moon for my Death's Koalas, or also, even though it's a -1, sometimes you just need to out the Thousand Eyes Restrict, or you need to flip their Genzo face down, you know what I mean? So this Book of Moon just has that kind of utility. Also saving your cards from Snatch Steal. Because Snatch Steal, Tsukiyomi, put your Death's Koala face down, is a terrible thing to allow to happen. Alright, trap lineup, Torrential, Ring of Destruction, Call of the Haunted, and Mirror Force. Ring of Destruction's like the burn card that every deck in the format played, but I went a step beyond. So we got Magic Cylinder, Ceasefire, and Triple Secret Barrel. The thing about a Secret Barrel, pinging them for 200 for each card. What a lot of times what ends up happening, like if they have a Scapegoat on board, if they have like a Scapegoat on board, fulfilled Scapegoats, you can ping them easy for a quick 800, or 200 times 4. So quick burn them for a quick 800. A lot of times they might have like a couple cards in hand, three or 4 cards in hand plus a Scapegoat. It's a quick 1600. And the way I look at it is that each of these cards could potentially represent 1,000 damage. So to get the value, of course you can hit higher numbers, but I try to look at it this way. If I can get 1,000 off of each barrel, that's 3,000. If I can get 1,000 off the Ceasefire, that's 4,000 total. If I can get 1 attack, that's 5,000. Ring of Destruction is 6,000. And then I have these other ways to try to get the rest of the damage in between those guys and these guys. So your win condition becomes gathering ways to get all these burn cards maximum value while also getting chip shots with damage in. And that's where your heavy hitters, your chaos monsters, that's where they come in, where they do the final bit of damage you need. Whittle them down with your burn cards, and then these guys do cleanup. Perhaps you got 5,000 damage in, BLS cleans it up for game, or you drop double Sork for game. Those are the plays that this deck kind of looks for. You'll notice there's no Tsukiyomi, there's no Metamorphosis. I'm not going for that. I'm not going for that pace of game. It's just a concept of just chaos aggro burn. All right, I hope you guys liked it. Leave a comment down below. Tell me what you think about the deck. Tell me what you think about the idea. Do you guys have any Any suggestions of what you like to see for GOAT format, any particular styles of decks that you're interested in, I'll be happy to take a look at them, take a look at your ideas and see what I can come up with. Deck building is always fun for me. I always like the challenge. And as always, it's Dub and I'm out.